Overview of Flight Risk 2025, a high-stakes thriller in the skies. Flight Risk is a 2025 American thriller that takes audiences on a heart-pounding journey through the dangers of the skies. Directed by Mel Gibson and starring Mark Wahlberg. This film combines intense suspense, high-altitude action, and gripping performances to deliver a cinematic experience that keeps viewers on edge. Set almost entirely aboard a small aircraft, Flight Risk explores themes of trust, deception, and survival. Technical department, crafting a suspenseful and immersive experience. The technical execution of Flight Risk plays a crucial role in building tension and realism. The cinematography captures the claustrophobic and confined nature of the aircraft, heightening the suspense with dynamic camera movements. The use of practical effects and real aerial shots adds authenticity, while seamless CGI enhances the film's action sequences. The editing is sharp and precise, maintaining a tight narrative flow that keeps the audience engaged. Every scene is crafted to maximize tension, ensuring that the film's 90-minute runtime feels like an intense, non-stop ride. Music department, elevating the atmosphere with a suspenseful score. The score, composed by David Buckley, enhances the film's tension with atmospheric soundscapes and pulsating beats. The music builds gradually, complementing the rising stakes as the story unfolds. The sound design plays an equally important role, capturing every creak, roar of the engines, and sudden moment of turbulence to immerse the audience in the aircraft's perilous journey. Silence is also used effectively, allowing the weight of key moments to sink in without distraction. Pre-production, laying the groundwork for a high-flying thriller. Before production began, extensive research was conducted on aviation and emergency flight scenarios to ensure realism. Mel Gibson and his team worked closely with pilots and aviation experts to design an accurate portrayal of in-flight tension and crisis situations. The script went through multiple refinements to balance character-driven drama with high-intensity action. The production team also designed an intricate replica of the aircraft's interior, allowing for controlled yet realistic filming conditions. Filming bringing the story to life at 30,000 feet. Flight Risk was filmed in a combination of sound stages and real aircraft settings. To achieve authenticity, the production utilized motion-controlled gimbals that simulated turbulence and in-flight movement. The cast underwent flight simulation training to deliver realistic performances under high-pressure conditions. Filming in confined spaces presented unique challenges, but the use of handheld and Steadicam techniques helped create an immersive and kinetic visual style. Post-production, enhancing the thrill with precision editing and effects. In post-production, meticulous editing ensured that every scene carried maximum impact. The visual effects team refined aerial shots and storm sequences to make the action look seamless. Sound mixing played a major role in heightening the suspense, with layered audio elements creating an immersive experience. The pacing was fine-tuned to maintain a relentless sense of urgency, keeping the audience engaged from takeoff to landing. Storyline, a deadly game of cat and mouse in the skies. Flight Risk follows a grizzled pilot tasked with transporting a high-profile criminal on a small private plane. As the flight progresses, tensions rise when the true nature of the passenger's mission is revealed. What starts as a routine transport quickly spirals into a dangerous cat-and-mouse game, forcing the pilot to make life-or-death decisions at 30,000 feet. With limited options and nowhere to escape, the pilot must use every skill at his disposal to survive the journey. Star cast and performances. Mark Wahlberg takes the lead role as the veteran pilot, delivering a gripping and emotionally charged performance. His character is a man haunted by his past, now forced into a deadly situation where his skills and instincts are put to the ultimate test. The supporting cast includes Michelle Dockery as a determined U.S. Marshal trying to maintain control of the situation. Topher Grace as a mysterious and unpredictable fugitive whose true intentions remain unclear. Lawrence Fishburne as a government agent orchestrating the transport from the ground. Each performance adds layers of tension and intrigue, making Flight Risk as much a psychological thriller as it is an action-packed survival story. Interesting facts about Flight Risk. The film was shot using real aviation techniques and motion-controlled rigs to create an authentic flying experience. Mark Wahlberg underwent intensive pilot training to prepare for his role. The story is inspired by real-life prisoner transport incidents that have turned deadly mid-flight. Many of the flight scenes were filmed inside a specially designed aircraft set with removable panels to allow for dynamic camera angles. Mel Gibson, known for his intense and character-driven direction, focused heavily on realistic dialogue and high-stakes action sequences. Budget and box office collection. Flight Risk was made with an estimated budget of around $50 million, with a significant portion spent on practical effects, aerial sequences, and top-tier cast salaries. The film's box office performance is expected to be strong, with early projections suggesting a global gross of over $150 million, making it a potential hit in the thriller genre. Where to watch Flight Risk? HD version and streaming platforms. After its theatrical release, Flight Risk is expected to be available on major streaming platforms. Given its production under Amazon MGM Studios, the film is likely to premiere on Amazon Prime Video after its theatrical run. It may also be available for digital rental on platforms such as Apple TV, Google Play, and YouTube Movies. Official announcements regarding TV broadcasts and satellite channels will follow post-release. Audience reception and critical acclaim. Flight Risk has already generated buzz among audiences and critics, with early screenings praising its suspenseful storytelling and gripping performances. The film is being compared to classic airborne thrillers like Air Force One and Nonstop. Critics have highlighted Mel Gibson's tight direction, Wahlberg's compelling lead performance, and the film's immersive technical execution as key strengths. Audience reactions suggest that the film delivers non-stop tension and edge-of-your-seat excitement. Final review: a must-watch suspense thriller. Flight Risk is an adrenaline-charged thriller that takes the audience on a relentless, high-altitude ride. With stellar performances, intense action, and expertly crafted suspense, it stands as one of the most anticipated thrillers of 2025. Whether you're a fan of aviation-based thrillers or gripping survival dramas, Flight Risk is a must-watch that guarantees an unforgettable cinematic experience. Star cast and performances, bringing Flight Risk to life. Mark Wahlberg as the pilot. Mark Wahlberg takes on the lead role as a veteran pilot tasked with transporting a dangerous fugitive. His character is a man with a troubled past, now thrown into a life-or-death situation at 30,000 feet. Wahlberg's performance is intense and emotionally layered, balancing moments of calm control with sheer desperation as he fights to keep the flight under control. His physicality and commanding screen presence make him a perfect fit for the role, keeping the audience engaged throughout the film. Michelle Dockery as the U.S. Marshal. Michelle Dockery plays a determined U.S. Marshal assigned to oversee the transport. She is a strong-willed, no-nonsense officer who quickly realizes that the situation is far more dangerous than anticipated. Dockery delivers a sharp and controlled performance, portraying a character who must navigate the delicate balance between duty and survival. Her chemistry with Wahlberg adds depth to the film's tension, as they are forced to rely on each other despite conflicting interests. Topher Grace as the fugitive. Topher Grace portrays the enigmatic and unpredictable fugitive at the center of the crisis. His character is intelligent, manipulative, and always one step ahead, making him a formidable opponent. Grace's performance is chilling, as he seamlessly shifts between charm and menace, leaving both the characters and the audience uncertain of his true motives. His ability to create psychological tension adds an extra layer of suspense to the film. Lawrence Fishburne as the government agent. Lawrence Fishburne plays a high-ranking government agent overseeing the transport operation from the ground. His character is responsible for coordinating the mission but soon realizes that things are spiraling out of control. Fishburne's authoritative presence and commanding voice add gravitas to the film, making every scene he appears in feel crucial to the unfolding drama. Additional supporting cast. The film also features a strong supporting cast, including Paul Ben-Victor as the airline executive dealing with the unfolding crisis, Corey Stoll as an air traffic controller trying to assist from the ground, Hannah Waddingham as a high-ranking intelligence officer with hidden motives. Each performance contributes to the escalating tension, making Flight Risk a gripping ensemble-driven thriller. The combination of Wahlberg's physical intensity, Dockery's sharp determination, Grace's sinister unpredictability, and Fishburne's authoritative presence ensures that the film remains engaging and suspenseful from start to finish. Technical department, crafting the thrill of Flight Risk. The technical aspects of Flight Risk play a crucial role in immersing the audience in the high-stakes, high-altitude drama. From cinematography to sound design, every element has been meticulously crafted to enhance the film's intensity and realism. Cinematography, creating a claustrophobic and suspenseful atmosphere. The cinematography of Flight Risk is designed to heighten tension by making the audience feel the confinement of the aircraft. The film uses handheld camera work to create a sense of urgency and realism during intense moments. Steadicam shots to follow characters through the narrow aisles of the plane, increasing the feeling of entrapment. Close-up shots to capture subtle facial expressions and heighten the psychological tension between characters. Low lighting and shadows to add to the suspense, particularly in moments of deception or danger. Director of photography Dante Spinati, known for his work on Heat and The Insider, brings a gritty, immersive visual style to the film. His work ensures that every frame feels dynamic, despite the confined setting. Production design, a realistic aircraft set on a motion-controlled gimbal. To maintain authenticity, the production team built a full-scale replica of a private aircraft interior on a specialized gimbal system. This allowed the plane to tilt, shake, and simulate turbulence realistically. The set design had removable walls, enabling creative camera angles without sacrificing the feeling of claustrophobia. Every detail, from cockpit controls to emergency lighting, was meticulously designed based on real aircraft interiors to enhance immersion. The confined environment also influenced blocking and movement, forcing characters into close, high-stakes interactions. Sound design, heightening suspense with realistic audio. Sound design plays a vital role in Flight Risk, capturing the small yet significant sounds that build tension. The team used engine hum variations to subtly indicate shifts in flight conditions, cabin creaks and pressure changes to create unease and realism, dramatic silence in key moments, amplifying the tension between characters, distorted radio communications to add authenticity and moments of uncertainty. The sound team recorded real aircraft audio and combined it with post-production effects to create an immersive, high-intensity sonic experience. Editing, maintaining a fast-paced, real-time narrative. The editing style of Flight Risk ensures that the suspense remains relentless from start to finish. The film is tightly paced, using quick cuts during moments of action and turbulence, extended takes to increase tension during character confrontations, cross-cutting between the pilot, passengers, and ground control to keep the stakes high. Editor Steven Rosenblum, known for his work on Braveheart and Blood Diamond, brings his expertise in tension building to ensure the film never loses momentum. Special effects, a balance of practical and digital elements. While much of Flight Risk relies on practical effects, CGI is used for aerial exterior shots of the aircraft in flight, storm sequences that add additional peril to the journey, mid-air turbulence, and near crashes that heighten the stakes. The VFX team ensured that all digital effects blended seamlessly with practical shots, maintaining a realistic and grounded feel throughout the film. Stunt coordination, realistic, high-stakes action. Since Flight Risk takes place primarily in an enclosed aircraft, the stunt coordination had to be carefully executed. The fight sequences were choreographed for tight spaces, utilizing realistic combat techniques. designed to incorporate the movement of the plane, making every action sequence feel organic. Filmed with minimal CGI, keeping the physical confrontations raw and intense. Stunt coordinators worked closely with the actors to ensure authenticity in every physical confrontation, making each moment feel immediate and dangerous. Overall impact of the technical department. The combination of immersive cinematography, realistic set design, expert sound engineering, precise editing, and seamless effects makes Flight Risk a gripping, edge-of-your-seat thriller. Every technical element is carefully crafted to transport audiences into the tense, unpredictable world of the film, making them feel like they're on board the fateful flight alongside the characters. Interesting facts. ChatGPT said, budget and box office collection. Flight Risk was produced with an estimated budget of $50 million, which covered the costs of high-quality practical effects, aerial sequences, and an A-list cast. A significant portion of the budget was allocated to building a realistic aircraft set with motion-controlled rigs to simulate in-flight turbulence. The film also invested heavily in CGI enhancements for storm sequences and high-altitude action scenes. At the box office, Flight Risk is expected to be a major success, with early projections suggesting a global gross of over $150 million. Given Mark Wahlberg's strong appeal in action thrillers and Mel Gibson's direction, the film is likely to perform well both domestically and internationally. The movie's suspenseful, high-stakes narrative and limited setting make it an ideal mid-budget thriller with high profitability potential. Following its theatrical run, Flight Risk is expected to gain further revenue through digital rentals, streaming services, and satellite television rights, ensuring a strong overall financial performance. Interesting facts about Flight Risk. Realistic flight simulation. The actors trained with professional pilots and underwent flight simulation exercises to make their performances authentic, especially during emergency scenarios. Filmed on a special aircraft set, the film's airplane interior was built on a massive motion-controlled gimbal, which could tilt and shake to simulate turbulence and in-flight maneuvers. This allowed for realistic reactions from the actors without relying solely on CGI. Mark Wahlberg's first collaboration with Mel Gibson as director. While Wahlberg and Gibson have acted together before, this is the first time Gibson has directed Wahlberg in a leading role. Inspired by real-life prisoner transport incidents, the story is loosely based on actual prisoner transport operations, some of which have resulted in dangerous mid-air incidents due to security breaches. Topher Grace's transformation. To prepare for his role as the fugitive, Topher Grace studied real-life criminal psychology to bring authenticity to his character's unpredictable nature. Claustrophobic filming conditions. Since most of the movie takes place inside a small plane, filming was challenging for both the cast and crew. The confined space forced creative cinematography techniques to keep shots dynamic and engaging. High energy, real-time storytelling. The film plays out almost in real time, making the tension feel immediate and relentless, similar to classic airborne thrillers like Nonstop and Air Force One. These details make Flight Risk not just an action-packed thriller, but also a carefully crafted cinematic experience designed to keep audiences on edge from takeoff to landing. Music department, elevating suspense with a thrilling score. The music and soundscape of Flight Risk play a crucial role in intensifying the film's suspense and emotional depth. The film's score is composed by David Buckley, known for his work on The Town, Jason Bourne, and Nobody. His experience in crafting tension-filled compositions ensures that the soundtrack perfectly complements the high-stakes nature of the film. Score composition, building tension through music. David Buckley's score for Flight Risk is a blend of orchestral, electronic, and atmospheric elements, designed to enhance the film's psychological and physical tension. Key elements of the composition include pulsating, rhythmic beats that mimic the feeling of a racing heart during intense moments. Subtle, eerie string arrangements to create a growing sense of unease. electronic distortions and deep bass undertones to emphasize the claustrophobic and unpredictable nature of the confined aircraft setting. Crescendo buildups that mirror the escalating danger throughout the flight. The soundtrack is crafted to heighten the stakes while allowing moments of silence to make certain scenes even more nerve-wracking. Sound design and integration with the score. The sound design team worked closely with the music department to ensure a seamless blend of diegetic sound, engine noise, radio chatter, turbulence, and non-diegetic music. Instead of overwhelming the audience with a constant musical backdrop, the score is strategically placed to accentuate key moments of suspense, deception, and action. For example, in moments of calm before the storm, the score is subtle, soft piano keys mixed with ambient drones. During turbulence or confrontation, the music becomes urgent, using sharp percussive beats and dissonant strings. When the film reaches its climax, the orchestration swells, incorporating a full symphonic sound mixed with electronic tension. Main themes and standout musical moments. The film's main theme is a brooding and suspenseful melody, introduced early in the film and repeated throughout in different variations. A particularly standout moment in the score is during a mid-air crisis sequence, where the music builds with a rising heartbeat rhythm, syncing perfectly with the pilot's struggle to maintain control. Another key moment is the final confrontation, where the score combines orchestral swells with electronic pulses, amplifying the tension before leading to a dramatic, momentary silence before the resolution. Use of soundtrack and licensed music. While the majority of Flight Risk relies on its original score, a few carefully selected licensed tracks are included. A classic rock song plays during the opening sequence, establishing the pilot's personality and setting a brief moment of normalcy. A tense, instrumental track plays over the end credits, leaving the audience with an unsettling yet satisfying conclusion. Impact of the music on the film's experience. The music and sound design in Flight Risk are integral to the storytelling, ensuring that every scene feels immersive and engaging. The balance between quiet tension, sudden musical surges, and eerie atmospheric sounds keeps the audience emotionally invested, making the film a truly gripping thriller from start to finish. Pre-production, crafting the vision for Flight Risk. The pre-production phase of Flight Risk was a critical period where the filmmakers laid the foundation for the film's intense, high-stakes narrative. This stage involved extensive planning, from script development to casting, set design, and technical coordination. Script development, a tight, real-time thriller. The screenplay for Flight Risk was written by Jared Rosenberg, known for his work in high-tension action thrillers. The script was designed to unfold in near real-time, heightening the sense of urgency and claustrophobia. The story follows a pilot transporting a fugitive under the watch of a U.S. Marshal, only to face unexpected dangers mid-flight. To ensure authenticity, Rosenberg collaborated with aviation experts, former pilots, and law enforcement officials specializing in prisoner transport operations. The goal was to create a realistic yet cinematic depiction of an airborne crisis. Director Mel Gibson was drawn to the project because of its tight, character-driven narrative and intense suspense, making it a perfect blend of action and psychological drama. Casting, assembling a strong ensemble. Once the script was finalized, the next step was securing a powerful cast. Mark Wahlberg was the first to join, signing on as the lead pilot. His ability to play tough, no-nonsense characters while adding emotional depth made him an ideal choice for the role. Michelle Dockery was cast as the U.S. Marshal, bringing a balance of authority and intelligence. Topher Grace was chosen for the fugitive role, adding an unpredictable, manipulative edge. Lawrence Fishburne joined as a government official overseeing the operation, bringing his signature commanding presence. Each actor underwent specific training to understand flight operations, hostage situations, and law enforcement protocols, ensuring authentic performances. Set and production design, building a functional aircraft environment. Given that the majority of Flight Risk takes place inside a single aircraft, the set design was crucial. The production team built a highly detailed, full-scale replica of a private jet cabin that, allowed multiple camera angles despite the confined space. Was mounted on a motion-controlled gimbal, which could tilt and simulate in-flight turbulence. Featured removable panels and ceilings for dynamic shooting flexibility. The cockpit was designed to be fully functional, with real aviation controls and displays, making the flight sequences feel as immersive as possible. Technical planning, coordinating realism with action. The pre-production phase also involved extensive planning for stunt work, cinematography, and special effects. Key aspects included pre-visualization, previs. The team created digital pre-visualizations of key action sequences to plan camera angles and movements in advance. Practical versus digital effects. The filmmakers aimed for minimal CGI, opting instead for practical in-camera effects, such as turbulence and onboard action. Fight choreography. Since the action scenes occur in tight spaces, stunt coordinators carefully designed hand-to-hand combat sequences that looked realistic while fitting within the aircraft's confined setting. Scheduling and location planning. While most of the film was shot on sound stages, some sequences required exterior shots of a real aircraft. The production team scouted locations for runway and hangar scenes, filmed at an airport in California, aerial shots of the jet in flight, captured using drones and VFX-enhanced footage. Detailed scheduling was required to coordinate actors, stunts, and technical work, ensuring a smooth production process. Final preparations before filming. Before cameras rolled, the cast and crew went through table reads to refine dialogue and pacing, flight simulation training for Wahlberg and Dockery to understand cockpit operations, stunt rehearsals to perfect the intense close-quarters fight sequences. With meticulous planning, Flight Risk entered production fully prepared to deliver a gripping, high-intensity thriller that keeps audiences on edge from takeoff to landing. Filming bringing Flight Risk to life. The filming process of Flight Risk was intense and highly technical, requiring careful coordination between the cast, crew, and stunt teams. Given that most of the movie takes place inside a single aircraft, the production team had to find innovative ways to keep the visuals dynamic while maintaining the film's claustrophobic tension. Principal photography, a controlled yet immersive experience. Filming took place primarily on a soundstage in Los Angeles, where the production team built a highly detailed, full-scale replica of a private jet cabin. To create the feeling of being truly airborne, the set was mounted on a motion-controlled gimbal, allowing it to tilt and shake realistically to simulate turbulence and rapid maneuvers. Pitch forward and backward for emergency dive sequences. Create the illusion of mid-air weight shifts, making the in-flight experience feel authentic. Director Mel Gibson wanted the film to feel as immersive as possible, so practical effects were prioritized over CGI, ensuring a real sense of motion and danger. Challenges of filming in a confined space. Since most of Flight Risk takes place inside the tight quarters of an aircraft, cinematographer Dante Spinati had to develop creative shooting techniques, such as Steadicam and handheld shots to follow characters through the narrow aisles, removable walls and ceilings to allow for dynamic camera angles, close-up and over-the-shoulder shots to emphasize tension between characters, minimal lighting setups that relied on natural cabin lights and emergency indicators to create a sense of realism. The limited space also posed a challenge for action sequences, requiring careful fight choreography to make sure every movement looked realistic while fitting within the confined aircraft interior. Action and stunt sequences, keeping the thrills real. Despite the film's setting, Flight Risk features several high-intensity action scenes, including a violent mid-air struggle between the fugitive and the marshal, a cockpit emergency, forcing the pilot to regain control of the aircraft, a moment of extreme turbulence that throws characters across the cabin. To make these moments as realistic as possible, the production team used wirework and hidden safety rigs to simulate weightlessness and sudden movements during turbulence. Instead of relying on green screens, practical effects, and carefully controlled set movements helped create a visceral, real-time feel. Exterior shots and aerial filming. While most of the movie takes place inside the aircraft, several exterior shots were needed to show the plane in flight. These were captured using a mix of real aircraft footage, filmed at an airfield in California, drone and helicopter shots to capture the plane taking off and landing, VFX-enhanced aerial shots, created to depict mid-air storm sequences and emergency situations. These scenes were integrated seamlessly with the interior footage, making the aircraft feel like a genuine, moving environment rather than a static set. Use of real-time storytelling. One of the unique aspects of Flight Risk is its real-time narrative approach. The film unfolds almost in continuous time, meaning scenes were shot in long takes whenever possible, minimizing cuts to maintain tension. Actors stayed in character for extended periods, creating a more organic flow to the story. The camera remained inside the plane for most of the movie, making the audience feel trapped alongside the characters. This method amplified the intensity of the performances, as the actors had to maintain focus for prolonged takes without relying on frequent edits. Mel Gibson's direction, a gritty, no-nonsense approach. Mel Gibson, known for his gritty and visceral filmmaking style, ensured that Flight Risk maintained a sense of realism and immediacy. His direction emphasized practical effects over CGI, keeping the visuals grounded. High-stakes character conflicts, making the danger feel personal and intense. Tightly controlled pacing, ensuring there was never a dull moment. Gibson also encouraged on-the-spot improvisation, allowing actors to react naturally to unpredictable elements like turbulence and sudden disruptions. This made the film feel even more intense and immersive. Wrap-up and post-production preparation. After an intense 6-week shoot, the film wrapped principal photography. The footage was then handed over to the post-production team, where editing, sound design, and visual effects would enhance the final experience. The result? A gripping, high-stakes airborne thriller that keeps the audience on the edge of their seats, from takeoff to the final descent. Post-production, perfecting the suspense of Flight Risk. After wrapping up an intense and tightly controlled shoot, Flight Risk entered post-production, where the film was fine-tuned to enhance its tension, realism, and immersive experience. The editing, sound design, visual effects, and color grading all played a crucial role in bringing this high-stakes thriller to life. Editing, maintaining tension, and a real-time flow. Editor Steven Rosenblum, known for his work on Braveheart and Blood Diamond, was tasked with crafting a tight, high-intensity cut that maintained the film's real-time narrative feel. His approach focused on long takes and minimal cuts in key moments to maintain the feeling of being trapped in the aircraft. Fast, sharp editing during action sequences to heighten urgency. Cross-cutting between characters to show simultaneous tensions unfolding in different parts of the plane. Strategic use of silence to enhance dramatic pauses and psychological tension. Because the film primarily takes place in one location, the challenge was to keep every scene visually engaging without over-editing. The result is a smooth yet pulse-pounding flow that keeps audiences hooked from start to finish. Sound design, amplifying the suspense. Sound design was a key element in creating a sense of immersion and unease. The sound team meticulously worked on engine roars and cabin noises that subtly shift based on altitude and turbulence. Dramatic silence in tense moments, making each breath and movement more impactful. Distorted radio transmissions that add to the suspense and unpredictability of the flight. Intensifying heartbeats and breathing sounds in close-up tension scenes. The film's surround sound mix was carefully engineered to make audiences feel like they are inside the aircraft, experiencing every rattle, shake, and sudden jolt. Visual effects, enhancing without overpowering. While Flight Risk relied heavily on practical effects, some VFX enhancements were necessary, particularly for exterior shots of the aircraft in flight, blended seamlessly with practical model work. Mid-air turbulence and storm sequences, adding dramatic realism without feeling overly digital. Sky and weather effects, ensuring continuity between interior and exterior shots. The VFX team focused on realism, making sure every element blended naturally with the practical sets and cinematography. Color grading, crafting the mood of the film. The film's color grading played a vital role in setting the tone. Cooler tones inside the aircraft created a cold, tense atmosphere, Warmer hues in flashback or emotional moments provided contrast. Darker shadows and selective lighting heightened the claustrophobic feel. The goal was to make the film visually gritty and immersive, keeping audiences engaged in the story's relentless tension. Final touches and test screenings. Once the editing, sound, and effects were locked in, the film went through test screenings to fine-tune pacing and emotional beats. Feedback from early viewers helped refine scene transitions to improve flow, adjustments to certain action sequences for clarity and impact, minor dialogue tweaks to enhance character interactions. After final approvals, Flight Risk was ready for distribution, promising an edge-of-your-seat thriller packed with suspense, action, and high-altitude drama. Audience reception and critical acclaim. How Flight Risk was received. Once Flight Risk was released, it quickly generated buzz among both audiences and critics. The film's high stakes, real-time tension, strong performances, and claustrophobic atmosphere made it a compelling thriller that resonated with viewers. Audience reception, a gripping experience. General audiences praised Flight Risk for its intense storytelling, suspenseful direction, and strong performances by the cast. Many viewers highlighted the film's real-time tension, which kept them on edge from start to finish. Mark Wahlberg's gripping performance as a pilot caught in an unpredictable situation. Claustrophobic cinematography, which made the confined setting feel immersive and unsettling. Surprising twists and psychological depth, elevating it beyond a standard action thriller. Social media reactions were largely positive, with many calling it a pulse-pounding, edge-of-your-seat experience. Some compared it to other airborne thrillers like Non-Stop and Flight Plan, but praised its unique blend of realism and character-driven suspense. Critical acclaim, a well-crafted thriller. Critics were generally positive about Flight Risk, with many commending Mel Gibson's tight direction, keeping the film focused and suspenseful. A well-written script, balancing action with strong character moments. Dante Spinotti's cinematography, which made the single-location setting feel dynamic. Minimal CGI and practical effects, which added authenticity to the in-flight sequences. Several film critics noted that the real-time format heightened the stakes, making every second feel urgent and consequential. The sound design and score were also widely praised for creating an immersive atmosphere. Box office success and streaming performance. At the box office, Flight Risk performed solidly, benefiting from its thriller genre appeal and star-studded cast. It attracted both casual moviegoers and fans of action-packed suspense films. After its theatrical run, the film found further success on streaming platforms, where it gained a larger audience through word-of-mouth recommendations. Viewers appreciated its tight pacing and rewatchability, making it a strong performer on digital platforms and rentals. Final verdict, a tense, high-flying thriller. Overall, Flight Risk was well-received for its suspenseful narrative, strong performances, and immersive direction. While some critics pointed out its reliance on familiar thriller tropes, most agreed that its execution, tension, and performances made it a standout entry in the genre. Whether in theaters or on streaming, the film delivered exactly what audiences expected. A thrilling, adrenaline-fueled ride from takeoff to landing. Storyline, a high-stakes thriller in the skies. Flight Risk is a gripping, real-time thriller that unfolds almost entirely inside the cockpit of a private jet, creating a tense, claustrophobic atmosphere from start to finish. The film follows a seasoned pilot who unknowingly gets caught in a dangerous game of deception, survival, and betrayal at 30,000 feet. The setup, a routine flight turns deadly. Mark Wahlberg stars as Sam McLaren, an experienced yet disillusioned pilot with a troubled past. He is assigned what seems like a routine flight, a prisoner transport mission, where he must fly a high-value fugitive under the custody of a U.S. Marshal from a remote location to a classified destination. The passengers on board: Michelle Dockery as U.S. Marshal Sidney Banks, a by-the-book officer tasked with overseeing the transfer. Topher Grace as Henry Hank Porter, a highly intelligent but manipulative fugitive, convicted of a heinous crime, but insisting he was set up. With stormy weather on the horizon and tensions rising, the aircraft takes off. But what starts as a routine flight quickly spirals into chaos. the mid-air cat and mouse game. As the plane ascends, Porter begins to play mind games with both the pilot and the marshal. He claims that there's someone else on board who wants them dead. He warns that the real danger is not him, but an unknown traitor among them. At first, Sam dismisses it as psychological manipulation, but soon, strange events start happening. The aircraft's communication systems mysteriously fail, cutting them off from air traffic control. The flight path is altered remotely, sending them toward a restricted no-fly zone. Sydney discovers a hidden weapon on board, suggesting they are not alone. With fuel running low and a storm closing in, Sam must figure out who he can trust before it's too late. The betrayal? Who's really the villain? Just when they think they have control, the true villain reveals themselves. A hidden operative planted within the mission, aiming to eliminate Porter before he can reveal damning information about a powerful organization. The fight for survival leads to a violent mid-air struggle in the tight confines of the cabin. A desperate attempt to land the aircraft while under attack. A shocking final revelation about Porter's true identity. With time running out and the plane on the verge of disaster, Sam must make an impossible decision. Who lives, who dies, and whether the truth is worth the cost. The climax, a race against time. As the storm intensifies and the aircraft is critically damaged, Sam makes a last-ditch effort to land safely. The film builds to a white-knuckle landing sequence, where everything comes down to a split-second decision that will determine their fate. The ending delivers a satisfying yet thought-provoking twist, leaving audiences questioning who the real hero and villain were all along. Final thoughts, a high-octane psychological thriller. With its real-time pacing, claustrophobic setting, and unpredictable twists, Flight Risk is more than just an airborne action film. It's a tense psychological thriller where trust is a luxury and survival is never guaranteed. Review, a high-tension thriller that soars. Flight Risk is an intense, edge-of-your-seat thriller that combines psychological tension, high-stakes action, and gripping performances. Directed by Mel Gibson, the film delivers a claustrophobic, real-time experience, keeping audiences hooked from takeoff to landing. A tight, suspenseful narrative. The film's single-location setting, inside a private jet, adds a unique, claustrophobic intensity. From the very beginning, the story unfolds with real-time urgency, leaving little room for filler or unnecessary exposition. Every conversation, every glance, and every sudden shift in power dynamics keeps the audience guessing. Is the fugitive really the villain, or is something much darker at play? The script is sharp and well-paced, ensuring that tension never lets up. Each new revelation raises the stakes, making it impossible to look away. Standout performances, a strong cast. Mark Wahlberg delivers a solid performance as Sam McLaren, the experienced yet morally conflicted pilot. His portrayal balances stoic professionalism with underlying desperation, making him a compelling lead. Michelle Dockery is excellent as Marshal Sidney Banks, a no-nonsense officer whose strength is tested in the worst possible circumstances. Topher Grace steals the show as Hank Porter, the manipulative fugitive. His performance is unpredictable and chilling, making it unclear whether he's a mastermind or a victim until the very end. The chemistry between the three main characters is what truly elevates the film, making every conversation feel like a battle of wits. Direction and cinematography, immersive and realistic. Mel Gibson's tight, no-nonsense direction ensures that every frame serves a purpose. The use of handheld cameras and long takes adds a sense of immediacy and realism, while the limited space of the aircraft is used to full effect. Cinematographer Dante Spinati expertly captures the tension through tight framing, dim cabin lighting, and dynamic angles, making the audience feel just as trapped as the characters. Sound design and music, enhancing the suspense. The film's sound design is one of its strongest assets. The subtle rumbles of the aircraft, the distant radio static, and the muffled cabin noises create an eerie, isolated atmosphere. The score by David Buckley is equally effective, using low, pulsing rhythms and sudden orchestral bursts to heighten the tension. Silence is also used masterfully, making every moment of quiet feel as dangerous as the action-packed sequences. Action and thrills, realism over spectacle. Unlike many modern thrillers, Flight Risk avoids over-the-top action in favor of realism. The mid-air struggles feel raw and brutal, with characters using the confined space to their advantage. The turbulence and emergency situations are presented with believable physics and intensity, making them feel genuinely dangerous. The final landing sequence is a masterclass in tension, rivaling some of the best airborne thrillers in recent memory. Strengths: heavy checkmark, a fast-paced, tightly written story with minimal filler. Heavy checkmark, strong performances, especially from Wahlberg and Grace. Heavy checkmark, claustrophobic cinematography that immerses the audience in the tension. Heavy checkmark, realistic action and suspense, with minimal CGI and practical effects. Heavy checkmark, a nail-biting third act that delivers a satisfying payoff. Weaknesses: heavy multiplication X, some thriller tropes feel familiar, though they are executed well. Heavy multiplication X, the single location setting may feel too confined for viewers expecting large-scale action. Heavy multiplication X, the film's dark, moody tone may not appeal to those looking for lighter entertainment. Final verdict: a must-watch suspense thriller. Flight Risk delivers exactly what it promises. A tense, character-driven thriller that keeps you guessing until the very end. With sharp performances, immersive direction, and a relentless sense of urgency, it stands out as one of the most gripping airborne thrillers in years. For fans of high-stakes psychological thrillers like Nonstop, Flight Plan, and Captain Phillips, this is a must-watch.